Let's start at the top. Honestly, I don't know how much needs to be said here for the simple reason that this pick was talked to death for the last 4 months. But now that the pick is in, just your final thought on the drafting of Will Campbell. Tayler, we'll start with you.
I think I had reached acceptance already, and I knew this was going to be a pick that I probably felt better about once we heard more about Will Campbell and got all the stories where it's yeah, okay, the leadership, but how exactly does that look in a Patriots setting? And that's where I probably would have leaned more B+ with my grade yesterday, but I gave it really more of an A- because I really do think that, one, if there's a position group where having one guy who is the tone setter is going to make a difference, it's offensive line because they're so close. And Will Campbell is going to be that one, a 10-year vet. Everyone says it. Freaking Braden Swinson said it about him. And if you get that kind of guy on your offensive line, whether he plays guard or tackle, I think it's a good value. And I also do think that he can play left tackle. The more I've heard from, people I trust to evaluate the position, it's really not a matter of if he can hang there. Maybe he's just going to be very good at best, but that's better than the majority of teams can say about their left tackle spot. So I'm very happy about it. Excited to have him in the building.
Brian.
Yeah, there's definitely still some concerns, right? There's only a select amount of people in the league who can play tackle with those measurements that we've talked so much about over the last few months. But you do, he's played the position in the SEC at LSU for 3 years. He's going to start out there. That's the biggest position in need. And then you get into the off the field stuff where he's going to die for Drake Maye out there. He's such a leader, right? He was a captain, 2-time captain at LSU. He wore the 7 patch as their top playmaker. So there's a lot to like about the character in the person. And again, it was such a need that you felt like they just kind of had to do that. And he's going to start for you, as you hope, 10 years along the offensive line at some point. So again, there's risk with it, but they kind of had to do that at the top of the draft.
Also wild, they now have 2 guys who had the 7 patch at LSU.
Yeah.
Say that again.
They have. They 2 together.
They have. I thought I said have.
Okay,
yeah, they have 2 guys who had the 7 patch at LSU.
I mean, that is a first of all,
I wouldn't hate if they add Harold Perkins next year.
Yeah.
Very Mike Vrabel-like players. So let's complete the set. Mike, go ahead.
The only thing that bums me out about the number 7 thing with Campbell, and that is a long line of Tayshaun Booties and Tyrann Mathieu, and you can name a whole bunch of them. I wish they actually let him wear the number 7 on his jersey. That would be electric if he was just out there at left tackle wearing it. They make so many college number rules. You would think you would just allow offensive linemen to wear single digits, but
and he's thin, so it would actually look good on him. It would look weird on a big guy, but he's pretty narrow, so the 7, it would look sleek.
He wore it in practice, didn't he? And it looked like...
It was only on game days. He wore 66, so I thought maybe he'd bump up to... Or he should have worn 77.
Yeah,
in college. And that's what we should wear here, but...
I agree. No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Just on the pick, it's... As Tayler said, we sort of started to accept it around here that it was just going to... it was going to be Will Campbell, and they weren't going to trade back, and they weren't going to, throw the Jaguars haul to go up and get Travis Hunter. And it just, it's a good pick. It's a really good pick. I give it a solid, I don't know if we're grading them here, but an A-. I think it works. It's what they needed. They need to sort of set the bedrock for this leadership group of this team. And if that's spending the number 4 pick on someone who, yeah, he might be a guard, but he might be one of the best guards in the league or even just a foundational piece of your offensive line for the next 10 years, then that's okay. And that works for me. So he might not be a top 5 tackle, but he'll be serviceable, and he'll sort of set the standard for this team for a long time alongside Drake Maye. So no, it's a good pick, and it's a pick they kind of just had to make. There was no real, when it came down to it, there are much more options really at number 4. That's what happens when you win game number 8, game in week 18 with Gerard Mayo and Joe Milton. So that's what had to happen, and it's the right pick.
I'll just go back to it. He was the best. It was the best pick they could have made, given what was available. Right, is the best pick for Drake Maye. Mm-hmm. And that ultimately is what's best for the football team. They did what's best for Drake Maye, who is their best asset. They made the pick that will help Drake Maye become the best player he can be, and that's what's best for the New England Patriots. So for me, in that case, if you want to argue whether or not he's the best left tackle, I mean, we just spent 4 months doing that. I thought he was, and the best left tackle on the board was the best pick for Drake Maye, and they took the best left tackle on the board.
Just want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Game Time. Head over to Game Time and use code CLNS. You get $20 off your first purchase. You can see the Red Sox. They're opening up next week. Patriots back here in Gillette Stadium. Could be good this year. Fun times down here in Foxboro. And if you want to get to a game again, head over to our friends at Game Time. Use that code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.